They're finally coming home. It's an announcement that felt like it would never happen, that we'd only dreamed of. 20 living hostages who've been held in underground tunnels in horrific conditions for 732 days. They're coming home. Set to be freed on Monday, American time. An historic day today, President Trump announcing that phase 1 of the peace deal has been signed, or will be signed tonight, has been agreed to by Hamas and Israel. President Trump said this could be the start of peace in the Middle East.
The whole world came together, to be honest. So many countries that you wouldn't have even thought of it, they came together. The world has come together around this deal. So great for Israel, so great for Muslims, for the Arab countries, and so great for this country. More than Gaza, this is peace in the Middle East, and it's an incredible thing.
And in a heartwarming and emotional moment, here was the president breaking the news to the hostage families that their loved ones would finally be coming home.
The hostages will come back. They're all coming back on Monday.
This is the first phase of Trump's 20-plus point peace plan, which centres on Hamas agreeing to release all the living hostages, believed to be around 20, although we don't know for certain. They will be released in one go, no drips and drabs. And in return, Israel will have to release 1,700 Palestinian prisoners, many terrorists. And Israel will also withdraw from heavy populated areas in Gaza. And it'll pull back from the Netzarim corridor, but it will still retain a presence in the crucial Philadelphia corridor on the border with Egypt. Now, come Monday, there won't be a dry eye to see those poor 20 boys released after 2 years in underground tunnels in the most terrible conditions known to man. One of those coming home is Ilana Gritsewski's boyfriend, Matan. They were kidnapped together on October 7, but she was released under an earlier deal. She told me a year ago how much she ached for Matan to come back to Israel.
It's difficult with an empty bed and wake up and it's the same nightmare. It's continue. But I wake up strong because if the hostage can survive a year there and fighting for her life, as I need to wake up all morning to still fighting for them so they come home.
And Israelis were celebrating today. The families of hostages remaining cautiously optimistic after being let down so many times by deals that never eventuated. And Palestinians were also celebrating today. Have a look at these scenes from Gaza. Now, this is all because of President Donald Trump. He drove this peace plan personally. It's a great triumph for him and for his legacy. This can't be overstated. Trump, one individual, the president, Trump himself, forced this deal into existence through sheer determination. The players who helped him make this happen, Marco Rubio, Steve Witkoff, and Jared Kushner. So while Trump is rightly getting the credit he deserves from most sensible people today, and he did tweet, "Blessed be the peacemakers," the credit should also go to Benjamin Netanyahu for this, and here's why. Like it or not, this peace deal would never have happened without Israel's strike on the Hamas leadership in Qatar. Netanyahu indicated he'd go after the Hamas billionaires themselves, even if they're living in Doha. They were no longer safe. Now, after this strike, Qatar complained heavily to Trump, claiming their nation was meant to be protected and immune from Israeli attack. And Trump pledged to protect them in the future. He even signed an executive order that said an attack on Qatar would be treated as an attack on the United States. But this was all predicated on a deal to free the hostages and end the war. Israel has also successfully defeated Hezbollah, destroyed Iran's nuclear program, and has eliminated multiple successions of Hamas leaders. It's also severely weakened their forces. So we have to be clear about the critical role Israel's strength and military strategy over the past 2 years has played in this, especially its recent decision to target Hamas in its safe haven of Qatar. So this is all what led to the peace deal. Now, the strike gave Qatar the incentive to get involved to reach a deal. And it's why Netanyahu speaks time and time again about peace through strength. And Bibi had an emotional call with Trump, thanking him for his global leadership. But again, Trump was the driving force behind this deal. His personality, his force of nature. He kept insisting publicly that everyone was agreeing to the deal, even though they weren't exactly. But it also shows how pressure could have been brought to bear on Qatar and Turkey and others earlier by America and by the international community. But instead, we saw the United Nations too busy pressuring Israel. And yet, Albanese dared to take some credit for this deal.
Throughout this devastating conflict, Australia has consistently been part of the international calls for a ceasefire, for the return of hostages and for the flow of humanitarian aid to Gaza. We've always acknowledged that the leadership of the United States of America, together with the Arab League, is vital to achieving these goals.
I mean, this is beyond the pale. The Australian, British, French and other countries kept demanding that Israel withdraw, despite Hamas still being in power. And then they recognised a Palestinian state, as if this was the answer to peace. They failed comprehensively to understand that fundamental prerequisites for any deal has always been the release of the hostages. The war could never end until the kidnapped, starved and tortured hostages were back home. So Trump's peace plan has happened despite Albanese, Starmer, Carney and Macron's efforts to reward the terrorists with statehood before they'd even released the hostages. And Trump has even vowed that if Hamas didn't accept the deal, they would be obliterated. And he said he backed Israel to continue its military campaign. And this shows that appeasement never works. It didn't work against the Nazis and it wouldn't work against Hamas and their financial backers in the region. And Israel knew this. Now, the second phase of the deal would see Hamas demilitarize and then a further withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza. Instead, Gaza would be governed by a technocratic, apolitical Palestinian committee made up of qualified Palestinians and international experts, and there'd be oversight by a new board or committee of peace where Trump himself is the chair. Now, Trump said today this could finally mean peace in the Middle East. It's a big hope, it's a big ask. But Israelis deserve security and Palestinians also deserve to live in peace and safety. If this comes off, even if it's just the hostages that are brought back home. America did this. Trump did this. Israel did this. Not the UN. They did nothing but criticise Israel. Not Albanese, Macron, Starmer or Carney, who did nothing but reward terrorism. This deal, and we hope the release of the hostages within days, is entirely thanks to President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu.